The blue glow from her desk screens hummed softly in the dark office. Mina moved her forearms quickly, pulling up files from the central database. Numbers and maps floated in front of her face like ghosts. She was the best data analyst in the Galactic Council, but something didn't make sense. She tapped the main screen. "Show me all wars with humans," she said to the computer. The answer came in a calm voice. "Searching. Complete. 147 major wars. Human victory record, 100%. Mina froze. Her scales turned from blue to purple, a sign of confusion among her people, the Dorthek. She had analyzed thousands of war records in her 60 years working for the Council. No species ever won every battle. It was impossible. "Check again," she said louder. Result confirmed. Humans have never lost a galactic war. She tapped another command. "List the biggest wars." Images filled the air. The Battle of 7 Stars, where humans defeated 3 species at once. The Long War, where they fought for 12 years without losing ground. The Crystal Moon conflict, where they turned defeat into victory in 6 days. Her assistant Zex rushed into the room. He was young, and his scales kept changing color, purple, green, blue. It meant he was nervous. "Ma'am, we just got a report from the border zones," he said, breathing hard. "What happened?" "The hegemony attacked a human patrol ship, 3 against 1. They were bigger, had better weapons, everything." Mina leaned back. The hegemony were known for their perfect battle plans. They never attacked unless they were sure of winning. "Let me guess. The humans won?" Zex's scales turned completely white. "It's worse than that. The hegemony commander said the humans seemed to know what they would do before they did it. Like, they had fought this exact battle before." "Impossible, that was their first meeting." "That's what makes it strange, ma'am." Mina stood up. Her people were tall and thin, with 4 arms that moved like water. She walked to the big window that showed the stars outside. Hundreds of species lived among those stars. Each had their own way of fighting. Each had won some wars and lost others, except humans. "Get me files on every species that fought humans. I want to talk to them. All of them. Yes. Even the ones that don't like to talk about losing." Zex left quickly. Mina turned back to her screens. She pulled up Earth's history from before humans joined the galactic community. What she saw made her 4 hearts beat faster. "Computer, show me human wars on their home world." The hologram changed. The planet Earth appeared, covered in red lines. Thousands of red lines connecting every part of the planet. Wars everywhere. Wars that never ended. Wars for thousands of years. "How many wars did humans fight among themselves?" she asked. Unable to calculate exact number. Humans engaged in continuous conflict from earliest recorded history through present day. Mina's scales turned dark blue. This was impossible. Every species made peace on their homeworld before going to the stars. First you unite your people, then you explore space. That was the pattern. That was how it always worked. "Show me current Earth conflicts." More red lines appeared. Humans were still fighting each other even while they won every war in space. "Computer, explain this." Humans engage in military training exercises against their own forces continuously. They call it red team versus blue team. All human military units practice fighting other human military units. Now Mina understood. While every other species in the galaxy learned to fight outside threats, humans learned to fight themselves. They had been preparing for every kind of war by constantly fighting each other. She opened a new file. Create Investigation Project. Why Humans Never Lose Galactic Wars. Priority. Maximum. The computer beeped. Project created. Do you wish to add team members? Not yet. First, I need to understand something that should be impossible. Outside her window, a human cargo ship passed by. It looked normal, just like any transport vessel. But now Mina wondered what weapons it might hide, what plans its crew had studied, what wars they had already fought in their training grounds back home. Her 3 assistants came back, all showing nervous colors. They had the list she wanted. "Ma'am, 37 species agreed to talk about fighting humans," the first one said. "What about the others?" "They said they prefer not to remember." Mina smiled, showing her sharp teeth. "Those are exactly the ones I want to talk to most. The investigation was starting. Somewhere in the galaxy's largest mystery was an answer. And Komina was going to find it. The conference room was cold and quiet. Komina sat at the round table, her forearms organizing data tablets. Representatives from different species filled the seats around her. Some looked angry, others embarrassed, all of them uncomfortable. Commander Zeth from the Vortani fleet was first to speak. His silver skin glowed dimly in the low light. "We pride ourselves on perfect military planning," he said. "Every battle, every movement calculated by our best minds." "Tell me about your fight with humans," Mina asked. Zeth's silver skin darkened. "It was at Proxima Junction. We had 30 ships, they had 10. We studied their previous battles, made counterplans for everything they might do. And they did things we never expected, used cargo containers as missiles, turned their shields inside out to create electromagnetic nets. By the time we understood what was happening, half our fleet was disabled." Next was Captain Crix from the Xanathi Collective. Her 6 eyes moved independently, always watching everything. "I bring the thoughts of my entire hive mind," she said. "We think as one. Our coordination is perfect." "How did you fare against humans?" "They fought like they shared our mind. Every movement we planned they countered perfectly, as if they knew our thoughts before we did." Her eyes focused on Mina. "Impossible, but true." The testimonies continued. Warriors from the Kreeth, the Dorthek, the hegemony of Keth. Each told the same story. Humans fought like they had already seen the battle before it happened. General Korth of the hegemony slammed his fist on the table. "They were 2 moves ahead constantly. Our battle computers calculated their tactics had only a 0.3% chance of success. Yet they worked perfectly." Mina's assistant Zex showed nervous purple scales as he brought in more files. "Ma'am, I found something strange in the pre-contact archives. Many species recorded warning messages before first contact with humans." "What kind of warnings?" "Here." Zex placed a data crystal in the projector. Ancient text appeared, translated into Galactic Standard. "Warning to those who encounter the war species. Beware those who fight themselves." Another message. "The Earth species knows only conflict. Peace among them is merely preparation for the next war." A third. "They do not cease evolution of warfare. Each generation surpasses the last." Mina translated these with growing excitement. "Computer, search for human military training in all databases. Files opened everywhere. Training manuals, battle simulations, war games that humans played for, entertainment." Her screens filled with information about human military academies, strategy colleges, tactical simulations. "Look at this," she said to the room. "They have institutions that only exist to train against each other. The red team studies how to defeat the blue team. Then they switch sides." Commander Zeth leaned forward. "They prepare for war by fighting each other constantly." Mina pulled up more data. Games, simulations, exercises. They create scenarios where humans fight humans, but with different technologies, different strategies. They've studied every possible way they could be defeated. The Xanathi captain's 6 eyes blinked in sequence. "So when they fight us, they see parts of themselves in our tactics?" "Exactly. They've already fought against versions of every strategy we could imagine." Mina's excitement grew. "Request to interview a human tactical officer. I need to understand this directly." 2 days later, Commander Bei Jiwan entered the conference room. She was small compared to most species, wearing a simple blue uniform. Her dark eyes showed no fear despite being surrounded by potential enemies. "Commander Bei," Mina began, "tell us about human military training." Jiwan smiled. "We train by fighting ourselves. Always." "Why?" "Because the enemy evolves. If you don't constantly improve, you fall behind." She looked around the room. "On Earth, we learned that if you can defeat the person next to you, you can defeat anyone. But you've spread to the stars now, surely you fight differently." No, Jiwon shook her head. Now we just have more training partners. Every human military unit practices against every other unit. We create scenarios for fighting enemies we haven't even met yet. General Korth interrupted. What about when you actually fight us? We recognize patterns. Jiwon's voice was calm. Your tactics remind us of things we've already defeated. Maybe not exactly the same, but similar enough. You mean you've already fought our strategies? Against ourselves, yes. Earth has 27 major military academies. Each one develops its own tactical philosophy. Each one tries to defeat all the others. By the time we graduate, we've fought against 26 different approaches to warfare. The room fell silent. Species that had taken centuries to perfect single tactical doctrines were facing a species that constantly created and destroyed its own military philosophies. Mina looked at her data with new understanding. Show me current human military exercises. The display filled with information. Humans were currently running 12 different war games. Not against other species, but against themselves. Using technologies they imagined might exist in the future. Practicing for wars that hadn't happened yet. Computer. Project current galactic military development versus human development rates. The answer stopped everyone. Human tactical innovation accelerates at 4.3 times the average galactic rate. All other species combined generate fewer new strategies annually than humans generate testing against themselves. The mystery was becoming clear. Humans didn't just train for war. They had turned war into a scientific study, an art form, a sport where opponents constantly pushed each other to evolve. Thank you, Commander Bay, Mina said softly. As the human officer left, General Korth spoke first. If they're this dangerous, we must act. The investigation was over, but the real problem was just beginning. Mina stared at the glowing map of Earth floating in front of her desk. Red dots marked every human military facility. There were hundreds of them, scattered across the planet like stars in the night sky. Computer, explain what I'm seeing. Displaying 347 active military training facilities. Each facility specializes in different aspects of warfare. Each competes with others to develop superior tactics. Her assistant Zex entered, carrying more data crystals. His scales shifted from green to blue. He was excited. Ma'am, you need to see this. I found archives from the Kreeth Collective. They were the best warriors in the galaxy before humans arrived. The hologram changed. An old Kreeth war leader appeared speaking in their clicking language. Subtitles appeared at the bottom. We thought we were masters of adaptation. Our warriors trained in every environment against every known tactic. But humans, they train for wars that don't exist yet. Mina's 4 hearts beat faster. Continue. The Kreeth continued. Their entertainment is warfare. They create fictional enemies just to practice defeating them. Their children play war games. Their art depicts battles that never happened. War is not something they do. It is something they are. Zex moved to another screen. Look at this, ma'am. Human entertainment, industry. Movies, books, games filled the display. Humans fighting aliens, robots, monsters, magic users, time travelers. Scenarios that seemed impossible but followed logical tactical principles. They imagine wars for fun? Mina asked. And then they study those imaginary wars seriously. Military. Academies write papers about fictional battles. They analyze how to defeat enemies from movies and books. Mina accessed the human cultural database. What she found amazed her. Humans had turned warfare into an art form. They studied historical battles like other species studied poetry. They created detailed tactical analyses of imaginary conflicts. Computer, how many unique tactical scenarios have humans developed? Processing, unable to calculate. Human tactical development shows exponential growth. Each solution creates new problems, leading to infinite variations. She understood now. Other species developed military tactics for specific needs, to defend territory, to acquire resources, to eliminate threats. Humans developed tactics for the sake of developing tactics. Display human military competition structure. The hologram showed a complex web. Military branches competing against each other. Academies in different countries creating opposing strategies. Even within single organizations, red teams spent all their time trying to defeat blue teams. Computer. Analyze pattern. How do humans approach warfare differently than other species? Analysis complete. Other species. Design military to achieve political goals. Humans. Design politics to achieve military evolution. Mina's scales turned bright, blue with understanding. They don't fight to win, they fight to learn. Zex pulled up more data. Ma'am, look at their peace treaties. Humans always demand two things: territory and military cooperation. Cooperation? They want to train with former enemies, exchange tactics, run joint exercises, learn each other's strategies. The pattern became clear. Humans weren't conquerors, they were collectors. Every war taught them something new. Every defeated enemy became a new training partner, a new source of tactical knowledge. Show me the current state of human military. Development. Earth appeared, but now the display included space stations, colony worlds, everything humans controlled. Red lines connected all of it. A massive network of constant military exercises. Currently active, 847 war games. Participants. All human military branches, civilian strategists, artificial intelligence systems, and volunteer forces from 23 allied species. Allied species? Species that signed training agreements with humans after military conflicts ended. Now, the full picture emerged. Humans didn't conquer to dominate. They conquered to expand their training network. Every new species they fought became another tactical style to master, another set of strategies to incorporate. Computer. Predict galactic military development with continued human involvement. The simulation ran for several minutes. Charts and graphs filled the space around Mina. Prediction. Within 50 years, all galactic species either adopt human tactical development methods or face military obsolescence. Human approach to warfare creates arms race with no theoretical limit. Mina's assistant brought the final piece. Ma'am, I accessed human training protocols. They have something called purple team exercises. Red team tries to defeat blue team. Purple team tries to defeat both red and blue teams simultaneously. And? They run purple team exercises every day, on every inhabited world, against every possible combination of strategies. The truth was complete. Humans hadn't just evolved superior military capability. They had created a system where war itself constantly evolved. While other species perfected single approaches to combat, humans had industrialized the creation of new tactical doctrines. Connect me to the Galactic Council. Emergency session. What will you tell them? Zex asked. Mina looked at the complex web of human military development one last time. That we've been approaching this problem entirely wrong, and that if we don't change our approach, humans won't need to fight us anymore. We'll already be obsolete. The screens dimmed as her communication request went out. In her long career analyzing warfare, Mina had never seen anything like humanity's approach to conflict. They had turned war into science, art, sport, and entertainment all at once. Now she had to convince the galaxy to either join them or risk being left behind by the endless evolution of human tactical innovation. The truth was uncovered, but the real challenge was just beginning. The war room buzzed with energy. Prime Counselor Vath's tentacles curled and uncurled as he listened to Mina's report. Around the massive oval table, representatives from 47 different species shifted nervously. If humans are this dangerous, Vath declared, his voice echoing through the chamber, we must act before they grow stronger. Activate Total War Protocol. Species that had been enemies for centuries suddenly found themselves allies. The Vortani brought their shield technology. The Xanathi offered their hive mind coordination. The Kreeth deployed their strongest assault ships. Even the mysterious Dorthek committed their analytical prediction systems. This alliance will destroy them, General Korth announced. No single species could face the combined might of the galaxy. 3 months later, The Allied fleet assembled at Nexus Point. Over 2,000 warships created a wall of metal and energy that stretched across space. Each species' technology integrated perfectly, a military cooperation unseen in galactic history. Aboard the human flagship at the edge of the neutral zone, Commander Park Soo-jin watched the enemy formation through tactical displays. "Sir, their coordination is incredible. They're combining technologies that shouldn't work together." Captain Kim Min-soo nodded slowly. "Of course they are. They're finally thinking like us." "Sir?" "They're scared, Commander. Fear makes you creative. They're innovating because they have to." The Allied fleet began their attack with precision that impressed even the humans. Vortani shields merged with Xanathi-coordinated assault patterns. Kreeth ships moved in formations that maximized Dorthek prediction algorithms. "Incoming transmission from Allied forces," the communications officer reported. "Put it through." General Korth's face filled the main screen. "Humans of Earth, surrender now. You face the united strength of the galaxy. No single species can win. Against us all." Min-soo smiled. "General, you're using the Kreeth adaptation protocol with Vortanian tech support and Xanathi coordination. We practiced against this exact combination last year." "Impossible." Second Fleet, begin Vagrant Storm protocol. All merchant ships convert to electronic warfare mode. First Fleet, deploy mirror configuration. Around them, human vessels transformed. Cargo ships suddenly bristled with weapons. Passenger liners reconfigured into mobile shield generators. Even damaged ships were repositioned to become improvised battering rams. The Allied commanders watched in confusion as human tactics defied every rule of space warfare. Ships that should have been non-combatant suddenly launched devastating attacks. Formations that looked broken reformed into perfect pincer movements. "How are they doing this?" Commander Zeth demanded over the Allied communication channel. "Admiral," Lee Soyun's voice came through clearly. "Because we've fought these battles already. Not against you, against ourselves. Red Team used your exact strategy against Blue Team 6 months ago. Blue Team won." The battle continued for 3 hours. Human ships moved in patterns that seemed random until the last moment. They used their own wreckage as weapons, bounced communications off destroyed vessels to coordinate secretly, and turned every disadvantage into something useful. "General," the Xanathi captain reported, "they're using 17 different species tactics simultaneously. Our prediction systems can't keep up." On the human flagship, Commander Park looked concerned. "Sir, they're adapting quickly, learning from our counters." "That's the problem with alliances," Min-soo replied. "Too many different ideas. Watch." He activated the ship's communication system. "All human forces, execute Endgame Sigma." The human fleet suddenly scattered in what appeared to be complete disarray. Allied commanders smiled, thinking they had broken the human formation. They ordered pursuit, dividing their own forces to chase individual ships. 3 minutes later, the scattered human ships converged from completely different vectors than predicted. They had used the classic tactic of appearing to flee while actually repositioning for the perfect strike. "Impossible," General Korth whispered as his command ship found itself surrounded. "All Allied vessels, this is Komina on priority channel. Immediate ceasefire, I have critical information." The fighting paused. Ships froze in space, weapons still charged but holding fire. "Analyst Mina," Vath's voice came through. "You interrupt a crucial battle." "Prime Counselor, I've discovered something about human warfare psychology. This battle proves it. They're not trying to destroy us. They're trying to learn from us." "Explain quickly." "Every move they've made shows restraint. They disable, rather, than destroy. They study our tactics in real time. This isn't conquest, it's the largest military exercise in galactic history." Admiral Kim Jae-ho's voice joined the channel. "Analyst Mina is correct. We've recorded every tactic you've used today. Your alliance forced you to innovate in ways we've never seen. And you've forced us to combine our tactics in ways we never imagined," Commander Zeth admitted. "Exactly," Jae-ho responded. "That's why we fight. Not to win, but to learn. And now, we've all learned something new." The Allied fleet held position, weapons powering down. For the first time in galactic history, A war had ended not with surrender or victory but with mutual understanding. Shall we discuss terms? Minsu suggested. The current war was over. The real negotiation was about to begin. Retry. F the peace. Talks took place on a neutral station, floating in the void between territories. Representatives from all species sat in a large circle, no one above or below the others. Komina stood at the center, her forearms moving gracefully as she presented her findings. Distinguished council members, she began. I have spent months investigating why humans never lose galactic wars. The answer is both simple and complex. Prime Counselor Vath's tentacles coiled tightly. Tell us quickly, Analyst Mina. Humans don't wage war to conquer. They wage war to solve problems. Each battle is a puzzle they must figure out. Once they understand the pattern, they have no interest in continuing. Murmurs of confusion rippled through the chamber. General, Korth of the Hegemony spoke up. Then why fight at all? Why not just talk? Admiral Park Kyungmin, representing humanity, answered calmly. Because you kept changing the puzzle. Every time we thought we understood your military capabilities, you evolved. It kept things interesting. Interesting? Commander Zeth's silver skin flushed dark. You treated galactic warfare as a game? Captain Oh Sungwoo, another human representative, shook her head. Not a game, a learning experience. Where you see soldiers, we see students. Where you see conquest, we see curriculum. Mina activated a holographic display. I propose a solution. The humans will share their tactical databases, training simulations, and strategic development methods with all species. In return, we establish the Galactic Military Development Consortium. What is that? Asked the Xanathi captain. A permanent organization where all species collaborate on tactical evolution. Instead of hiding military secrets, we share them. Instead of fighting to test new strategies, we train together. The human representatives consulted briefly in whispers. Admiral Kim Jae-ho stood to speak for them. We accept this proposal, though I should warn you all about something important. What warning? Vath demanded. Making everyone think like humans might just prevent wars entirely. Confused murmurs filled the chamber. Commander Zeth asked, how is that possible? Because once you truly understand warfare as deeply as we do, you realize it's the most inefficient way to accomplish anything. We got good at war precisely so we wouldn't need to use it. Mina continued her presentation. The consortium will work like this. Each species contributes their military knowledge to a shared database. We create training scenarios that combine all tactical doctrines. Most importantly, we compete in simulated warfare instead of real combat. You mean war games? General, Korth asked. Exactly. Constant training exercises where every species can test their strategies against all others, without destruction or death. The room fell silent as the implications became clear. No more secrets, no more surprise attacks, no more devastating wars. Just an endless cycle of learning and improvement. Captain Lee Jun, the youngest human representative, added, We've already begun sharing our archives. Every human military academy, every tactical simulation, every bizarre scenario we've created. It's all available to you now. The Xanathi captain consulted with her hive mind briefly. Our collective agrees. This approach addresses our primary concern, preventing unexpected tactical developments that could threaten our species. One by one, representatives voiced their agreement. The Vortani would contribute their shield technology. The Kreeth would share their adaptation protocols. Even the Dorthek offered their predictive analytical systems. Final question, Vath declared. If humans are so superior at warfare, why agree to share this advantage? Admiral Kim Jae-ho smiled. Because we've learned that the only way to keep getting better is to make everyone else better too. We need worthy opponents to push our limits. Otherwise, we stagnate. The agreement was signed exactly 1 year after the Battle of the Neutral Zone. As the delegates prepared to leave, Mina made her final notes. Conclusion. Human warfare dominance stems from treating military conflict as an intellectual pursuit, rather than a tool of destruction. They mastered war by constantly fighting their own evolving capabilities. She paused, then added another observation. Post-agreement update. Human tactical development has actually accelerated since the formation of the consortium. Earth's military academies are now developing scenarios that incorporate all 47 species' combined tactics. They report this is the most fun they've had in decades. Komina smiled as she closed her research files. The galaxy's greatest military mystery had been solved not with weapons, but with understanding. And perhaps the longest era of galactic peace was about to begin. Not because warfare had ended, but because everyone had learned to think about it differently. The humans had taught the galaxy their most important lesson. The best way to prevent wars is to become so skilled at fighting that nobody wants to test you. But more than that, to make everyone equally skilled, so that war becomes unnecessary. In her final report, Mina wrote simply, "Recommendation accepted, solution implemented, mystery closed, new era beginning."